Suppose we'll kill that audio. Good evening. This is VK3EKH, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, with a regular Friday night broadcast coming to you from the studios of VK3CSJ in Narre Warren South. We're broadcasting on prime frequency of 3541 kilohertz in the 80 metre amateur radio band, and simulcasting on 160 meters in the medium wave service on 1865 kilohertz amplitude modulation, 100 watts into a vertical antenna, and also transmitting via the Melbourne TV repeater, digital television repeater, DVB-T2 repeater on 445.5 megahertz. That's right, isn't it? I think so. And not quite in HD, not yet anyway, not until I get my HD boards back, but it is standard def. And I'm not sure if that's coming via the BATC feed tonight. I haven't checked that. Somebody might like to just check the BATC feed to see if there's any video and audio there. But we're also mainly streaming on the YouTube channel, which can be found on VK3CSJ. So just type in VK3CSJ on the YouTube search engine, and just look for the live symbol, and that'll be me. So we're broadcasting YouTube, and that's where the HD resides. So we also have an email address, a live email address, VK3EKH, VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel at gmail.com, VK3EKH at gmail.com. And yep, there it is. Thank you. And also we have a chat window, a Discord chat window, which can be found via the ASV website, www.asv.org.au, and look for the radio astronomy tab, and open up the box, a little pull down box, and you'll see the link to the radio broadcast, ASV radio broadcast. And there will be not only the YouTube stream, I haven't got the audio stream running tonight, but the YouTube stream will also be there, courtesy of the ASV website, and also the link to the Discord channel, which is a little box with a radio telescope in it, from memory, and that'll get you into the Discord channel. So you can either come up as anonymous or use your name or call sign, whatever. We already have quite a swag of stations there on the chat window that I can see. Good evening to Martin, VK7JAH. JAH, that's right. Cassiopeia, g'day Nebs. We also have Roberto, VK3XRA, section directed to the radio astronomy section and the space exploration section of the ASV. Richard, VK3VRS. We also have John, g'day John, VK3BLX is there, and I'm sure that will multiply as the hour proceeds. Now, what else? I wasn't here last week, so apologies for those folks that didn't get the email. I did send out a quick email just to let people know that I decided not to have broadcast last week, but we are here, and we're going to have a 2-hour session tonight. Not really. Okay, now the Astronomical Society of Victoria was founded in 1922. It has well over 1,600 members in the society. Membership of the society is open to all persons with an interest in astronomy. The Society's objectives are to encourage the study and practice of astronomy, and to disseminate the knowledge of the science, and to provide greater facilities for the study among its members. Monthly meetings are usually held on the second Wednesday of each month. Meetings start at 8 p.m. at the Mullier Hall, National Herbarium, Burwood Avenue, Melbourne, near the Melbourne Observatory, which is located not too far from the Shrine of Remembrance, which will be a busy little place on Monday. Parking is available in Burwood Avenue, Dallas Brooks Drive and the surrounding streets. Admission is free and visitors are most welcome. Privileges of membership include the right to borrow books, periodicals and other publications from the Society's extensive library, which is located at the Melbourne Observatory. Receipt of the ASV magazine Crux, containing news, articles, observing notes and the like, and the free provision of the Astronomical yearbook. Access is available to telescopes on members' nights held regularly at the Melbourne Observatory and after monthly meetings, weather permitting. These instruments include the Society's 300mm equatorial reflector and a 300mm portable reflector. There's also a 200mm refractor managed by the Royal Botanic Gardens, and a photoheliograph are also housed at the observatory. The Society also has a number of 200mm refractors available for short period loan, so members can try before you buy. Regular Society Club Night meetings are held on the first and last Fridays of each month at the Lodge, at the Society's property located in Burwood. Members are encouraged to use the Society's instruments located there to gain first-hand experience in how to use a telescope. These instruments include a 508mm equatorial reflector, and there's also a number of smaller reflectors. Members are also encouraged to make use of the Society's country property located near Heathcote, some 90-minute drive north of Melbourne. There are a range of instruments available for members to use, and the larger of the two require some sort of appropriate training. These range from 300mm to 1000mm in aperture. Also located on site is the 8.5 metre radio telescope, fully steerable, which members can access with involvement in the radio astronomy section. Members are encouraged to make and use telescopes. Advice and help on both matters are provided willingly to newcomers desiring to do the same. Instrument making is only one of the number of common interest activities catered for within the Society. Other areas of interest that the members can participate in is deep sky observing, astrophotography, lunar and planetary observing, auroral meteor, comet, radio astronomy, computing, cosmology and astrophysics, historical studies and research in astronomy in general. Contact details for various section directors are provided in the yearbook, but if you don't have access to the yearbook, you can locate that information via the website. Further information may be obtained by visiting the ASV website, and notifications of events are given in the Crux Extra, the alternative to the usual Crux newsletter magazine. And these new Crux Extra every other week is sent out via email to members. Please note that the ASV will conform to all government health directives. ASV events may be required to be cancelled, moved or postponed. Further information can be gleaned if you write to the Secretary, the Astronomical Society of Victoria, GPO Box 1059, Melbourne, Victoria 3001, if you are inclined to be writing letters still. Otherwise, you can use the website www.asv.org.au for more information about the ASV website. Lots can be learned from the website, and if I just check out the home page right now, let's see just what's happening on the front page there, apart from a revolving banner. Links to become a member of the ASV, that's fairly straight and easy. There's a little membership just under where it says welcome to the Astronomical Society. There's the word membership in green, and that opens up on another page, and it's all straightforward from there, and it can be done by PayPal. Okay, now still what's happening at the moment is the NACA presentation business that's going on, and I was just going to do a quick surmise of that, because it's over 2 weekends, last weekend and this weekend. And where was that? I did see it. Is that it? That looks like it. This is out of the latest, out of the Crux that I'm reading from. This is the latest Crux newsletter for those watching TV. So this is the quality, nice and shiny colour edition. In fact, that image you can see there on the front of the magazine is the new All Abilities telescope, and there's a fellow sitting there in a wheelchair, and he has perfect access to the eyepiece. Telescope can be adjusted to any position on the sky, and the eyepiece can be comfortably viewed through. And that was officially opened at the Messier Star Party a while ago, just a few weeks ago. This Easter, continuing on this weekend, but this Easter, amateur astronomers from across the country will come together online for the 30th National Australian Convention of Amateur Astronomers. That's the National Australian Convention of Amateur Astronomers. It's referred to as NACA. And the ASV will play a leading role. This Easter, the Astronomical Society of Victoria will host the 30th National Australian Convention of Amateur Astronomers. The biannual event encourages people and other astronomical societies from all around Australia to share their knowledge of and enthusiasm for the diverse aspects of amateur astronomy. During the NACA, lectures on scientific papers are presented on interesting amateur astronomy subjects from astrophotography to how to sketch the moon. This year, the entire event will be a series of online lectures. ASV member Stuart Beveridge was on the subcommittee responsible for the Society's successful bid to host the 30th NACA. This year, the ASV was responsible for finding a venue feeding everyone and making sure that people from interstate have somewhere to stay, Stuart said. Unfortunately, COVID has put an end to all that, and NACA's 2020 event at Parkes in New South Wales was cancelled due to the pandemic. It looked like it would be cancelled again, but ASV convinced the NACA to hold online, Stuart added. 9 scientific papers have been submitted to the NACA Planning Committee for consideration. We are hoping we'll get a lot more papers now that people don't have to commit themselves to actually travelling interstate or things like that, said Stuart. Stuart said that the online lectures would be organised into morning and afternoon sessions. If there are enough papers, it will go ahead on Easter Saturday and then the following Saturday, the 23rd, which is tomorrow. Just checking that. It normally takes up to 3 days across Easter, Stuart added. Stuart said that the papers could be about anything on amateur astronomy. During one NACA, someone demonstrated how to do drawings of the moon. On the other hand, someone gave a lecture on galaxies and the universe's expansion, Stuart added. This year, Stuart and the ASV member Barry Adcock will be submitting a paper called The Challenging Size of Jupiter's Great Red Spot. We'll discuss how it has changed over the last 100 years. Stuart hopes that the NACA will adopt a hybrid online-inline person event for future events. The next event will be held at Parkes in 2024. So this weekend, the NACA presentations continues. It's been, like I said, it was spread across 2 weekends. So the first weekend was last weekend. All those presentations that were viewed on YouTube or Facebook have been recorded, and they can be viewed again on the YouTube channel. Not sure about the Facebook side of it, but I know that they're all available to catch up on the ASV's YouTube channel. So tomorrow, I'm not sure what the program time at this stage. I don't think they've got a program time in this, but it does kick off tomorrow, probably from about 9 o'clock or 9:30 in the morning, and there'll be probably 2 sessions tomorrow, a morning session and most likely an afternoon session, maybe a Q&A also at some stage in the afternoon, but I haven't checked, so I'm not too sure. But if you go to the ASV homepage, the asv.org.au, all that information about the convention is actually there, and there's a link to not only to the YouTube channel, but there will also be a link there. I'm just looking at this right now, in fact. Let's see. Yeah, I can't see how it's happening tomorrow. They've got last week's program. They've got they had 4 streams last week, and yeah, so there'll be something similar for this weekend, when that information should be available somewhere there off the ASV homepage. So that's excuse me, that's my little support for NACA. Now you're tuned to ASV Radio VK3 EKH, and I can see Robert's waving at me there. The other thing I'll quickly go through, since this is a fairly current release of the ASV's newsletter, I'll just quickly read out Jim Katisfolis. Not really sure how you pronounce Jim's name. G'day, Jim, if you're listening. But he's got a quick rundown of the planets. So this is mid-month, so why not have a quick rundown, because this is basically for April-May. So for Mercury, Mercury is reaching its superior conjunction on the 3rd of April, been and gone. You'll have to wait until late April to see Mercury in Taurus as an evening object, sitting about 5 degrees above the northwestern horizon, half an hour before sunrise, reaching its greatest eastern elongation of 21 degrees on the 29th of April. The messenger planet appears as a 0.5 magnitude or 8 arc-second crescent disk, and is the best time for observing it. As we move into May, Mercury sinks lower toward the horizon and will appear again as a pre-dawn object in June under more favourable viewing conditions. That's Mercury. Venus puts on one of its best shows, but you'll have to be up well after midnight to enjoy it. Rising before Saturn and Mars in the pre-dawn sky in early April, Venus in Aquarius climbs to an altitude 30 degrees above the eastern horizon an hour before sunrise, making a stunning trio ideal for viewing through binoculars. It appears as a magnitude minus 4.2 or a 20 arc-second half-lit disk. The end of April comes with 2 close encounters, well worth the view through a telescope. On the 28th of April, around 5 a.m., Venus and Neptune sit only 15 arc-seconds apart. So if you haven't seen Neptune in your telescope before, locate Venus on the 28th of April. Locate Venus in your telescope, and only 15 arc-seconds, and that's pretty close. You'll get a chance to see Neptune in the far distant background. It's a challenging target, but it is well worth the effort, Jim says here. Around the same time, on the 1st of May, Venus sits 0.2 of a degree apart from the next brightest planet, Jupiter. Last time they were this close was back in 2016. As we approach the end of May, Venus progressively falls towards the horizon. Now, a little bit here on Earth. As we move towards solstice, the length of daylight gets shorter and the nights get colder and crisper, no doubt about that. Stay warm, don't forget to adjust your clocks. Okay, so that's an old bit. Mars. Mars is in Capricornus. It rises just before Saturn in the east, and in early February, 2 hours after midnight in early April, rising to 40 degrees altitude on an hour before sunrise, whilst appearing at only at magnitude 1.1 or 5 arc-seconds featureless disk. It makes a nice trio with Saturn and Venus passing 0.3 of a degree south of Saturn on the 5th of April. This is too early, really, isn't it? As we move into May, however, the red planet steadily pulls away from Saturn and moves towards Jupiter. On the 29th of May, Mars passes 0.6 of a degree south of Jupiter and should make a splendid sight. Jupiter is in Aquarius, rises early in April, about 2 hours before sunrise, and in the east. Sitting below Venus, the end of April will offer better viewing latitudes as it gets closer to Venus. By the start of May, when it sits closest to Venus, it shines at magnitude minus 2.0 as a 35 arc-second disk. Views of Jupiter improve through May as it climbs higher in the pre-dawn sky as it meets Mars on the 29th of May. Make sure you view its equatorial bulge, atmospheric bands, and the Galilean moons. On a good clear night, you can usually easily see 4 of the Galilean moons. Saturn is rising just after Mars in pre-dawn sky in early April. Rising just after Mars in the pre-dawn sky in early April. Saturn in Capricornus climbs to a high altitude by the end of the month, a few hours before sunrise, and is a great sight as always. A magnitude 0.7, a telescope should reveal its 37 arc-second ring span, tilted at 13 degrees towards our line of sight, and the Cassini division in its rings. Views of the ringed planet will improve through May as it rises earlier and moves higher into the sky well before dawn. Uranus is in Aries, and with its solar conjunction on 5th of May, it will be too close to the Sun during the months of April and May to observe. By the end of May, Uranus will sit only 10 degrees above the eastern horizon 1 hour before sunrise, so it will be difficult to observe it. It will be better observed in the coming months as a pre-dawn object. Neptune is in Aquarius. It rises in the east in early April, 1.5 hours before sunrise. Best to wait till May to have a decent observable elevation to see the 7.9 magnitude or 2 arc-second bluish disk in the pre-dawn sky. Views improve later in the month as it moves to opposition on the 17th of September. And dwarf planets. Pluto is in Sagittarius, rises around midnight, well before Saturn in early April, climbing to a high altitude 2 hours before sunrise. By the end of April, it reaches almost directly above in the pre-dawn sky, and Pluto hunters, who are night owls, will be able to make out its 14.4 magnitude or 0.1 arc-second disk at a dark sky site. Views will improve over the next few months with optimum viewing around its July opposition. So there you go. That's our breakdown of planets for April-May. Thank you to Jim for that out of our Crux magazine. Oh, and there was a few other things in here too, but I might not worry because time is getting on. I can see already, and I've got a few things here. Lots of talking, and I'll probably go to sleep doing it. Oh dear. You're tuned to ASV Radio VK3 EKH, broadcasting from the studios of VK3 CSJ in Narre Warren South. Okay, now I don't have anything here yet for vision, so the first article that I've got here to hit on is about time. Now, I may, depending on how I go, I may not go right through the article. If I feel like giving it a stop, I will, and I'll point you to where I found it. But I have read through it already, and it's not a very long article, but it's just wordy. There wasn't much in the way of pictures and diagrams and stuff, so I didn't bother. But this was published about 18 hours ago. Time might not exist, and this is what caught my eye straight away. Time might not exist according to physicists and philosophers, but that's okay. Does time exist? The answer to this question may seem obvious. Of course it does. Just look at the calendar or a clock. But developments in physics suggest the non-existence of time is open possibility and one that we should take seriously. How can that be? And what would it mean? It'll take a little while to explain, but don't worry, even if time doesn't exist, our lives will go on as usual. Physics is in crisis. For the past century or so, we have explained the universe with two widely successful physical theories, general relativity and quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics describes how things work in the incredibly tiny world of particles and particle interreactions. General relativity describes the big picture of gravity and how objects move. Both theories work extremely well in their own right, but the two are thought to conflict with one another. Though the exact nature of the conflict is controversial, scientists generally agree that both theories need to be replaced with a new, more general theory. Physicists want to produce a theory of quantum gravity that replaces general relativity and quantum mechanics while capturing the extraordinary success of both. Such a theory would explain how gravity's big picture works at the miniature scale of particles. It turns out that producing a theory of quantum gravity is extraordinarily difficult. One attempt to overcome the conflict between the two theories is string theory. String theory replaces particles and strings vibrating as many times as 11 dimensions. However, string theory faces further difficulty. String theories provide a range of models that describes a universe broadly like our own, and they don't really make any clear predictions that can be tested by experiments to figure out which model is the right one. In the 1980s and 1990s, many physicists became dissatisfied with string theory and came up with a range of new mathematical approaches to quantum gravity. One of the most prominent of these is loop quantum gravity, which proposes that the fabric of space and time is made up of a network of extremely small discrete chunks, or loops. One of the remarkable aspects of loop quantum gravity is that it appears to eliminate time entirely. Loop quantum gravity is not alone in abolishing time. A number of other approaches also seem to remove time as a fundamental aspect of reality. So, we know we need a new physical theory to explain the universe, and that this theory might not feature time. Suppose such a theory turns out to be correct. Would it follow that time does not exist? It's complicated, and it depends on what we mean by exist. Theories of physics don't include any tables, chairs, or people, and yet we still accept that tables, chairs, and people exist. Why? Because we assume that such things exist at higher level than the level described by physics. We say that tables, for example, emerge from an underlying physics of particles whizzing around the universe. But while we have a pretty good sense of how a table might be made out of fundamental particles, we have no idea how time might be made out of something more fundamental. So unless we can come up with a good account of how time merges, it is not clear we can simply assume time exists. Time might not exist at any level. Saying that sometimes does exist at any level is like saying that there are no tables at all. Trying to get by in a world without tables might be tough, but managing in a world without time seems positively disastrous. Our entire lives are built around time. We plan for the future in light of what we know about the past. We hold people morally accountable for their past actions with an eye of reprimanding them later on. We believe ourselves to be agents, in brackets, and entities that can do things, in part because we can plan to act in a way that will bring about changes in the future. But what's the point of acting to bring about a change in the future when, in a very real sense, there is no future to act for? What's the point of punishing someone for a past action when there is no past and so, apparently, no such action? The discovery that time does not exist should seem to bring the entire world to a grinding halt. We would have no reason to get out of bed. There is a way out of the mess. While physics might eliminate time, It seems to leave causation intact, the sense in which one thing can bring about another. Perhaps what physics is telling us, then, is that causation and not time is the basic feature of our universe. If that's right, then agency can still survive, for it is possible to reconstruct a sense of agency entirely in causal terms. Just looking at this last paragraph. Actually, that's pretty much the end of that article, because the next part of this article is talking about a book that talks about this. So I won't go into that. But that was the end of that. So full stop. So that can be found on space.com. Thank you to space.com. If you're interested in reading that article for yourself, 18 hours ago. Time. It was 18 hours ago it was done. It's all relative, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, space.com, and the article's called Time Might Not Exist According to Physicists and Philosophers, and That's Okay. You're tuned to ASV Radio VK3EKH, where the time is 29 minutes to 11. Alrighty then. This could be interesting. New messages to aliens will reflect on Earth in danger of climate crises. This was also 8 hours ago. When was the last one? 18 hours ago. Okay, so this one was 8 hours ago. A new attempt to reach out to intelligent life in the universe will broadcast information and music about our environment. And there's a nice picture of a radio telescope here, but I didn't bother putting it because we all know what a radio telescope looks like. A radio signal designed to bring Earth's climate crisis to attention of alien life will be beamed to the TRAPPIST planetary system in October. TRAPPIST, that is. TRAPPIST-1. TRAPPIST, maybe. The message has been devised by METI International, a group of scientists, sociologists, historians, anthropologists and artists who have come together with a common belief that humanity would benefit from beaming messages to the stars rather than just wait to receive a message from aliens. METI, M-E-T-I, stands for Messaging Extraterrestrial Intelligence, as opposed to SETI, the more passive search for extraterrestrial intelligence, as opposed to SETI. I've just read that out. The Goonhilly Satellite Earth Station in Cornwall, UK, will broadcast the climate change message on 4th of October to coincide with the beginning of World Space Week, which this year has the theme of space and sustainability. Any aliens receiving our message won't be surprised to hear about our climate crisis, says Douglas Vokoch, president of the METI International, who told Space.com. They have had decades to observe our plight from afar, they reckon. Whether or not aliens already know about us, successfully communicating with them will be difficult. Alien life will not know our languages or understand our culture, and may even interpret the universe around them differently than we do. The great challenge of interstellar communication is to establish a common ground for understanding. To tackle this, Goonhilly message will begin with the periodic table of elements. Since the chemical elements are universal, any scientifically knowledgeable alien should recognize the periodic table. METI International argued that content would create common ground for the message to then describe some of the environmental changes as we face here on Earth. The TRAPPIST-1 system is 39 light years away. So if anyone there does detect a message, we should not expect a reply for at least 78 years. However, the likelihood is that technology advanced alien life will be far older than we humans, since The universe is 13.8 billion years old, and we are just newcomers on the scene. The message's authors hope that this age gap would offer hope for humans facing the climate crisis. If an alien species was or has managed to survive perhaps millions or even billions of years, then experts assume that they will have long ago solved any climate issues they may have faced and would now exist in stable society. Hearing from such aliens might give us confidence that we can solve our own climate problems. Furthermore, Vakoch said he thinks that they may be intrigued to hear from a younger species, us, who are experiencing a stage in their development that the aliens' distant ancestors may also have experienced. By giving aliens insight into the mind of a species that is uncertain about its future, but that is still ready to reach out, we may be offering unique insights to a civilization that has long since left behind such instability and uncertainty, said Valoch. Our candid self-reflection may just be intriguing enough to prompt a response. The environmental theme will be portrayed in the message by music as well as scientific information. METI International has teamed up with Stithia Music Festival in Uzbekistan, which is a non-profit project raising awareness of the drying up of the Aral Sea, which local communities rely on for fishing. The festival's organisers are curating the musical chorus choices in the message, which include tracks such as Beauty of the Earth by Soviet electronic music pioneer Edward Artemis, Through the Asteroid Belt by The Comet Is Coming, and a section of tunes from artists performing the festival, which will be held May 6 through May 8. Vakoch admitted that the music might be the hardest part of the message for the aliens to interpret, as well as being difficult to encode into the message at high fidelity. Nevertheless, he said that he suspects that the musical selections are perhaps the parts of the message that are the most likely to prompt alien recipients to tell us more, maybe perhaps. This year's broadcast will be the second interstellar message that METI International have transmitted. The first was the Sonar Calling message in 2018, sent in conjunction with the Sonar Music Festival in Barcelona. Other notable interstellar transmissions include Frank Drake's famous Arecibo message sent in 1974, and 4 messages beamed into space from the Evaporator radio telescope in Crimea by the late Russian radio astronomer Alexander Zverev. You know that one? That one. Some SETI experts condemned actively sending messages to extraterrestrial life. Many researchers consider such communications unauthorized diplomacy that could potentially spell danger for humans because we cannot predict what the consequences of making contact with technological aliens would be for our society. If one is to send a message, the TRAPPIST-1 system is a good choice, they reckon, since it is home to 7 rocky worlds orbiting a red dwarf star. Several of the system's planets may be habitable, they reckon, with planet E being the most promising to support life as we know it, they reckon. However, it is unlikely that METI International will hit play dirt soon. If we get a reply from TRAPPIST-1, we'll know the universe is chock full of intelligent life. More realistically, we may need to repeat transmissions like the one to TRAPPIST-1 to 100,000, even millions of stars before we reach one that is inhabitable by radio astronomers. Right, you're tuned to ASV Radio VK3EKH. That article can also be found on space.com. Space.com. Look for the article titled "New Message to Aliens Will Reflect on Earth in Danger of Climate Crisis." You're tuned to ASV Radio, VK3EKH. Keeping an eye on the time. It's 20 minutes to. All right. Doesn't seem to be any more. There's VK2 CBD has landed. G'day to VK2 CBD. I think that might be... your name's just left me. I can't remember. Sorry. But I know who you are. Okay. Astronomers discover Astronomers discover a micronova, or Novae, a new kind of stellar explosion. Just checking the length of this. It's not very long. A team of astronomers, with the help of the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope, or ESO's VLT, have observed a new type of stellar explosion, a micronova. These outbursts happen on the surface of certain stars and can reach burn through around 3.5 billion Great Pyramids of Giza of a stellar material in only a few hours. We have discovered and identified for the first time what we are calling a micronova, explains Simone Scaringi, an astronomer in Durham University in the UK, who led the study on these explosions published in Today Nature. The phenomenon challenges our understanding of how thermal-nuclear explosions in stars occur. We thought we knew this, but this discovery proposes a totally new way to achieve them, he adds. Simone. I thought it was a girl. Micronovae are extremely powerful events, but are small on astronomical scales. They are much less energetic than the stellar explosions known as novae, which astronomers have known about for centuries. Both types of explosions occur on white dwarfs, dead stars with masses about that of our Sun, but as small as Earth. A white dwarf in a two-star system can steal material, mostly hydrogen, from its companion star, if they are close enough together. As this gas falls onto the very hot surface of the white dwarf star, it triggers the hydrogen atoms to fuse into a helium explosively. In novae, these thermonuclear explosions occur over an entire stellar surface. Such detonations make the entire surface of the white dwarf burn and shine brightly for several weeks, explains co-author Nathalie Degener, an astronomer at the University of Amsterdam. Micronovae are similar explosions that are smaller in scale and faster, lasting several hours. They occur on some white dwarfs with strong magnetic fields, which funnel material towards the star's magnetic poles. For the first time, we have now seen that hydrogen fusion can also happen in a localized way. The hydrogen fuel can be contained at the base of the magnetic poles of some white dwarfs, so that fusion only happens at these magnetic poles, says Paul Groot, an astronomer at Radboud University in the Netherlands and a co-author of the study. This leads to microfusion bombs going off, which have about 1/1,000,000th of the strength of a nova explosion, hence the name micronova. Groot continues. Although micro may imply these events are small, do not be mistaken. Just one of these outbursts can burn through about 20,000 million trillion kilogram, or about 3.5 billion Great Pyramids of Giza of material. These new micronovae challenge astronomers' understanding of stellar explosions and may be more abundant than previously thought. It just goes to show how dynamic the universe is. These events may actually be quite common, but because they are so fast, they are difficult to catch in action. The team first came across these mysterious micro-explosions when analysing data from NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite, or TESS. Looking through astronomical data collected by NASA's TESS, we discovered something unusual. A bright flash of optical light lasting for a few hours. Searching further, we found several similar signals. The team observed these micronovae with TESS, two were from known white dwarfs, but the third required further observations with the X-Shooter instrument on ESO's VLT to confirm its white dwarf status. With the help of ESO's Very Large Telescope, we found that all these optical flashes were produced by white dwarfs, says De Gennar. This observation was crucial in interpreting our result and for the discovery of micronovae, she adds. And the discovery of micronovae adds to the repertoire of new stellar explosions. The team now want to capture more of these elusive events, requiring large-scale surveys and quick follow-up measurements. Rapid response from telescopes such as the VLT or ESO's New Technology Telescope and the suite of available instruments will allow us to unravel in more detail what these mysterious micronovae are, she says. Right. This is ASV Radio, VK3EKH, with, what is the time? It's 14 minutes to. And that article was published 20 April 2022 from the European Southern Observatory website, www.eso.org. Public news. Righto. Now, okay, let's hit this one. And I think I've got a picture of this one. This is about Artemis. So let me bring up a picture of Artemis. I do have a picture of Artemis here on the launch pad. And I better make sure my audio doesn't disappear. It should be okay. Where's my audio? Just checking where that is. That's it there. Okay, so I'm going to cut to the picture. Hello. Oh, I'm still there. 1, 2. Yep. Amazing grace. Alright, there's a picture of Artemis on the TV. And what is going on? NASA calls off Artemis 1 mock launch due to hydrogen leak and more. This was the 20th of April. The towering moon rocket will soon make its way from the launch pad back to the shop. NASA's wet dress rehearsal for its new mega moon rocket, the Space Launch System SLS, is officially over, at least for now. A series of problems, mostly with the ground equipment, drove a stake into getting the dress rehearsal done this week. The test run was initially slated to begin on April 1 and intended to last about 48 hours. The latest problem to crop were NASA's inability to locate a leak in the hydrogen supply line, a faulty valve, and the need to improve the flow of nitrogen to the pad where the SLS has been sitting for days. The goal of the wet dress rehearsal was to set the operations, procedures and equipment needed to be for the maiden launch of the world's most powerful rocket, which is still planning for later this year. For the Artemis 1 mission, the first in a series of incremental steps that will take humans back to the lunar surface, the SLS is tipped with with an uncrewed Orion capsule and a handful of CubeSats. In the not-so-distant future, nearly 50 years after the last Apollo mission, the SLS aims to successfully deliver these payloads to lunar orbit. With the wet dress rehearsal on hold, NASA now plans to roll the rocket back to the Massive Vehicle Assembly Building, VAB, on April 26. While there, workers will attempt to remedy the hydrogen leak as well as address a Tichy, T-E-T-C-H-Y, a Tichy valve that prevented fueling of the rocket's upper stage. NASA will then evaluate whether it wants to do additional work on the SLS while they have it back in the shop. One possibility is that NASA will get the SLS flight ready, roll it back out, conduct a successful wet dress rehearsal, then leave the vehicle on the pad to launch when the celestial mechanics cooperate. The earliest optimistic launch window is probably this summer, from June 29 to July 12. However, given the extensive history of the SLS delays, making that window could be a challenge, they reckon. Despite the problems, the wet dress rehearsal achieved most, but not all, of its objectives. NASA officials say that the team accomplished partial loading of the SLS hydronic cryogenic fuels, while also verifying the health and safety of the Orion crew capsule, command and communications, and arrange safety checkouts. The launch team also gained fluency in start and stop countdown procedures and troubleshooting, and they even quickly came up with a new fueling procedures. Notably, missed objectives for the Artemis 1 dress rehearsal include a complete fuel loading of the upper stage and the testing of 3 commands for that operation, according to Artemis launch director Charlie Blackwell Thompson. Okay. There's a bit more to the article, but I think that sort of nuts it out to what's going on with Artemis. Just looking at the last paragraph here. Yeah. No, look, I'll keep you abreast of how Artemis is going along, but that's just a brief rundown of Artemis, and that it's they had a few problems, and it's being manoeuvred back into its big building for more work. But things are afoot, and things will occur. That was an article on astronomy.com website. NASA calls off Artemis 1 mock launch due to hydrogen leak, and more. You're tuned to ASV Radio VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel with the regular Friday night news broadcast coming to you from the studios of VK3 CSJ. And got to remember to go back to me. Okay, now I have a couple of more little articles here. Okay, the latest on James Webb Space Telescope. It gets ready to gaze deep into the universe. This is published on the 23rd of March, so it's about a month ago. But what they say here is that a powerful new tech and careful planning puts the JWST in position to see further than any telescope before. Carrying out the James Webb Space Telescope's groundbreaking mission required powerful technological innovations in optics, detectors, mirrors, and a multitude of other areas. JWST's unprecedented scientific power is partly a function of the size and extreme sensitivity of its primary mirror, which collects the images from space. The gold-plated mirrors is 21 feet in diameter, giving a collecting area of 273 square feet. As its fully deployed size, the mirror would have been too large to fit in the Ariane 5 rocket that launched it. So it was built into 18 hexagonal segments designed to unfold into space when it was ready. These segments have to be minutely controlled to meld them into a single optical surface. There are 132 tiny electric motors dedicated to mirror control, and each mirror segment requires even smaller motors, 6 to change the position, and 1 central mirror motor to adjust the radius of the curvature. JWST also has a micro shutter array, a grid of 248,000 doors, each 0.004 of an inch by 0.008 of an inch, that can be opened or closed to let in light from a particular object in space while blocking light from other objects. Or the array can select many objects and measure an overall property. To build a telescope that can peer farther than Hubble can, we need a brand new technology. And they say that we've worked on this design for over 6 years, opening and closing tiny shutters tens of thousands of times in order to perfect the technology. JWST collects infrared heat radiation, which has a wavelength longer than visible light but shorter than radio waves. Infrared radiation can pass freely through regions of cosmic gas and dust, and perhaps allow JWST to observe the formation of new planetary systems normally shrouded by fine particles. Infrared radiation travelling from the target object in space is collected by the primary mirror, reflected into smaller secondary mirror, and then directed into one of 4 scientific instruments which may focus, filter, disperse the light. 4 instruments are necessary because they are more suitable than others for observing specific types of objects such as planets, stars, nebulae, and galaxies. To keep the infrared glow of the telescope itself from swamping faint astronomical signals, the JWST has to operate at extremely low temperatures. One of the instruments needs to be held at a temperature of minus 447 degrees Fahrenheit, a mere 58 degrees above absolute zero. It uses a huge sun shield, 69.5 feet by 46.5 feet, to block heat and light from the sun, earth and moon. Further cooling is provided by a cryocooler, a refrigerator based on helium. Control and monitoring the telescope is carried out by a team of technicians sitting in front of dozens of screens in the high-tech hub at the Space Telescope Science Institute in Baltimore. The link between WJST and controllers is provided by NASA's Deep Space Network. To prepare the team to cope with any unexpected problems, engineers went through dozens of simulations, honing their ability to quickly diagnose and correct malfunctions. We're about to go on this amazing journey of discovery, said astronomer Klaus Pontoppidan, a Webb project scientist at the site where they do all the study, and we really mean discovery, because Webb has new raw power to reveal the unexpected. We can plan what we think we're going to see, but at the end of the day, we know that nature will surprise us more often than not. Not quite an update. I mean, it's the 23rd of March, but anyway, I pulled that off astronomy.com while I was looking around, and I'm sure there's a little bit more. All right, but I'll follow up with any latest things next week on that one. I mean, real latest stuff, if I can dig it up. Okay, I was going to give an article about Starlink satellite streaks. They've got some juicy little pictures here of our Starlink satellites causing optical pollution to the sky. I'll play that next week. I'll show that next week. The Large Hadron Collider is about to turn back on after a 3rd-year hiatus. That was published. This is published 18 hours ago. It's a short article, but I note the time, so I shall only just say that the world's largest, most powerful particle accelerator is about to turn back on. In December 2018, the Large Hadron Collider near Geneva shut down, so that improvements and updates could be made to the facility. After more than 3-year planned hiatus, the collider is ready to turn back on, and for a 3rd round of operations. So some interesting things to come from our collider. And that was also a quick article of space.com under the so you just look for Large Hadron Collider is about to turn back on. Alright, now a quick thing. So that was something else I was going to talk about. Elon Musk wants to talk about landing on Mars, but I'll talk about that next week because I'm just running out of time. So jumping across to, and there's something about Apollo 16, but I'll leave that till next week. Jumping to our spaceweather.com. Okay, spaceweather.com. I can bring up a picture of the sun at the latest disk image of the sun. There it is. Alright, there it is on the TV screen. And the solar wind is currently at 442.1 kilometers per second at a density of 5.18 protons per cubic centimeter. As we look at the sun, there are 5 sunspots on the surface of the sun as we speak. The current sunspot number is 119, with the radio sun, and this is the highest I've seen it for a long time. The radio flux from the sun is 164 solar flux units, measured at a wavelength of 10.7 centimeters. 164 solar flux units. That's a pretty high figure. There no CMEs are heading for Earth. So far this week, the sun has produced dozens of solar flares. Zero debris is heading our way, however. Remarkably, all of the explosions have been off target. Active sunspot complex AR 2993 and 94 is still turning toward Earth. However, so the odds of a future hit are increasing. So this week there could be some interesting solar flare activity coming from the AR 2993, 94 black spots, sunspots. Okay, so we'll just now. I'll just run this. This is an interesting thing. I've got this ready to go. Will it go? Yep, it's going. All right, go. All right. Now, just running a interesting little eclipse thing of one of the moons of Mars. A solar eclipse on Mars. So those watching TV right now on YouTube and the RTV, what you're seeing there, NASA is reporting new footage of a solar eclipse on Mars. On April 2nd, Phobos passed in front of the Sun over Jezero crater, while the Perseverance rover is studying signs of ancient flooding. The rover's Mastcam Z camera tilted up and recorded this video. I don't know if that's going to repeat. I'll just check if it's in it. I don't think I've looped it. I'll just kick it off again. Alright, so back to the article. This isn't the first time a Mars rover has recorded a Martian eclipse. Spirit and Opportunity made the first observations back in 2004. Curiosity in 2019 was the first to record video, but this is the best video yet. Mastcam Z has a solar filter that acts like sunglasses to reduce light intensity. You can see details in the shape of Phobos' shadow like ridges and bumps on the moon's landscape. Yeah, so there it is. Quite interesting to actually get that. So most interesting indeed for those that saw that. Okay, I think that's about it. The potentially hazardous asteroids. There are hundreds and hundreds of potentially hazardous asteroids. As of the 22nd of April, there's 2,276 potentially hazardous asteroids. Potentially hazardous, but none are known to be in a position where they're going to collide to Earth at the moment. All right. Now, I think that's where I'll conclude. I'll just check the Aurora over Antarctica. No, it's very weak at the moment. So there is a very, very faint auroral ring over Antarctica, but it'd be just not noticeable at all by anybody. So unless you lived in Antarctica, so not much to report there at the moment. This is VK3 Echo Kilo Hotel, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, broadcasting on 160 and 80 metres via the Melbourne television repeater, and via YouTube. We have Kim, VK5 FUSC, has joined the chat window. Just checking that out now as I see it. And that's about it there. One thing I might mention, for those who are into software-defined radios, SDRs, Paul Kalstrand, VK3KH, said, some know Paul by the AM's loop, PK AM loop business that he has, and of course have spoken to him at many hamfests. Paul runs a multiple SDR system on the Kiwi SDR website, and you can go and study Paul's SDR system. He has multiple receivers. I think there's over 40 receivers that he's now got configured, and anyway, it's a unique little system that runs, very popular, particularly around 11 o'clock in the morning with the coffee break, boys. But I asked Paul during the week if he could, when you look at the 80-meter segment of the SDR window, it was blank, a blank spot around where I'm sitting right now. So I kindly asked Paul if he could put a little box up that says ASV radio at 3541 kilohertz. So if anybody wants to tune in to the ASV radio broadcast using the SDR system, and I'm not sure really how well the signal gets into it, but it's most likely very good. But yes, you can easily identify it now, because it now is identified by a little box just above the waterfall display, and it says ASV radio. So thanks, Paul, for doing that. Much appreciated. It puts me further on the map, so that those folks around the world that might want to tune in to your SDR system will say, oh, what's this ASV radio thing? And they'll click on that and find me burbling away on a Friday night. All right, I think that's about it. Don't forget that the NACA series of conferences are continuing this week. So for this weekend. So for further information, just check out the ASV website for those other lectures and conferences. And I really should have checked to see what there was, so I could give that a plug. If I had been here last week, I would have given a plug for it for sure for last weekend, but just while I wasn't here. Okay, so this is VK3EKH. Stations on 80 metres wishing to call back, please stand by on 80 metres for that check-in that usually occurs. I don't think I've got anything else here to report on. Rob at VK3XRA has just popped up a Tamitha item, but that's a few weeks ago, or last week, so that's old news. That the latest from Tamitha finishes, I think, on Thursday, last Thursday. So I don't believe she had. In fact, I didn't check, to be honest, but I don't believe there's any latest solar report from Tamitha. Otherwise, I would have run with that, unless that is the latest there, Rob. But I don't think it is, because going by how she's tied her top there together, she did that last week. Anyway, thanks, Rob, for putting that up. No problems at all. And in fact, Kim has asked for it, so Kim says thanks, Rob. So there it is. I'm just looking at the chat window, guys. You can join in the chat window at any time. Struth, let's quit. This is VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, concluding transmissions on 1865, our medium wave service. Standby stations on 80 metres. If you want to find out more information about the Astronomical Society of Victoria, ASV, just go to the the ASV website at www.asv.org.au, and all will be revealed there. I think that's about it. So this is VK3EKH with VK3CSJ on the microphone, concluding the AM transmission on 1865, and we will be back next week to do it all again. Thank you for listening on 160 metres. All right, look at that, 21/9 noise floor. It's disgusting, isn't it? 20 plus 20, 22, 20, 22 over 0, 9 noise floor. Shocking business. My kingdom for a property far away from suburbia. It'll probably happen at some stage in the near future. All right, so stations on 80 metres. This is VK3EKH, listening on 3541 for any stations wishing to join in.
Okay, Charles, 3TJ. 3J3HTX. TJR. VK
Hey, Greg. Okay, VK3JR. We heard you at the top there, Frank. VK3JR, VK3TJS, VK3HDX, VK5KKT, VK3 Delta X-ray. Any other stations? VK3VIN. Anybody else? Okay, gotcha, Martin. VK7JAH. Alright. Kicking off at the top there. G'day, Frank. VK3JR, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, VK3JI. Yeah. Great broadcast as usual. Fascinated by the outside time. I'm still confident we've got to have time. Otherwise everything has happened all right from that coast to reason. Now, the sunspots are incredible. How good are they going to get? This is something that the bands are really jumping. And get out there and work the tech, those who are interested in it. The solar, at least the exoplanet count hasn't changed. I think my service must be not up to date though, because according to the National there are over 500 and exoplanet app only goes up to 4,600 odd, so yeah, a little bit behind. Anyway, never mind. Thanks for doing it and have a good week. VK3EKH, VK3JR.
Good on you, Frank. VK3JR, VK3EKH. Mega smooth voice. No worries, Frank. Yeah, look, I'm still being let down by not having my own little app running here for the EXO account, or I should find a website that reflects the most recent update for the exoplanet count, and I just haven't done that yet, so I must organise that. Usually Steve, VK3YJQ, and g'day to Steve if you're listening. He normally presents that data because he has an app that seems to be regularly updated. I'm losing my voice, I can tell. Thanks, Frank. Across to you there, Jack. VK3TJS Shepparton, VK3EKH.
VK3EKH, and the group this is VK3TJS in Shepparton. You're quite right about the noise. It's just, for instance, here in Shepparton, it's a little holiday for sure. And it's been like that throughout the night as well, and it's just very kind of strange noise. I haven't encountered that, up my nose, so they're kind of, consistent. But, yeah, good transmission here, well over 20, 25, sometimes even more. And it's interesting about the time and everything else, and, every time, everyone says, time doesn't exist, but all the different theories. But yeah, lovely transmission, so good stuff, and thank you very, very much for that, and I shall probably head to bed now. I'll leave my eyes open. VK3KH, this is VK3TJ.
Yeah, no worries, Jack. Sorry to keep you awake. But I thank you grossly for actually hanging in and staying in there, and coming in on the callback, so not a problem at all. And yeah, noise is chronic, isn't it? The amount of noise that's getting into that we pick up here and in local areas around suburbia, it's just horrendous. So it's not good at all. Thanks, Jack. And yeah, the Time article was definitely an interesting one, and I'm glad I got through that without too many issues. Thanks, Jake. Across to you there, Don. VK3HDX, VK3EKH.
Oh, thanks, Clint. VK3EKH in the group. VK3HDX. Yeah, great broadcast. Also enjoyed the article on time. So sorry about last week and why you weren't on. I was sorry to hear about that. But thanks for coming up tonight. Good to hear you again. and maybe catch up with you at the Moorabbin Hamfest next month, Clint, if you go.
Maybe.
VK3EKH and the group VK3HDX.
Yeah, thanks, Don. VK3HDX, VK3EKH. Not sure at this stage. Yeah, not sure, but I'll try. Yeah, I'll see if I can. Just not too sure at this stage. So it's been ages since I've been to a hamfest. Well, you know, we haven't had many hamfests happening anyway. Might be a nice idea. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, no worries, Don. Thanks for the report. And well, you know, definitely time is a man-made concoction. We're all linear creatures, I suppose. So we've got to have some sort of frame of reference. Even when there was no clocks in the distant past, the frame of reference was the fact that the sun rose and set, and people were able to clock things per seasons, when things got cold and wet and when things got hot and dry, and that was their clock. So yeah, it's interesting. Although it's interesting to note that mechanical clocks, or a clock of some sort, was found underwater, undersea, and it dates back. You know, I'm not really sure now, but it's a very old clock, and it shows that the technology for mechanical invention was around well and truly in the past. So there's definitely a history on this planet, that is for sure, that even ourselves are still discovering. My king for a time machine. Thanks, Don. Across to VK5 Kilo Tango. Not a super strong signal. I think it's Ian. Sorry, I just can't remember right now. VK5 Kilo Tango in 2 L's. VK3 EKH. Yep, thanks, Ian. I knew that. I did know that. Thanks, Ian. So, are you actually saying that you are we're actually able to copy the signal on 160? Righto, no worries. Very good. Glad to see that. That's okay. That's fine. VK5 KKT, VK3 EKH. Thanks, Ian. Good on you, mate. Thanks for calling in. Yeah, I'm running an AM signal, AM 100 watts into a vertical monopole down the back on that one. Greg, VK3 Delta X-ray, VK3 EKH. Nice to hear you. Thanks, Greg. VK3 Delta X-ray. We're on the ball. VK3 EKH replying. Very good. Thanks, Greg. Good signal from you too. You're hovering around the 20 over 9, so not doing too bad here in Tanari Warren. And yes, I should find that article actually on that clock they found. to make it a little bit of a follow-up for next week if I remember. But yeah, thanks, Greg. And yeah, look, with the new email address that I've got now running, and in fact, the only person I can see that's sent an email, I just checked that. Thanks, Don. I can see your signal report up there. What was I going to say about that? Oh, I got completely off the tangent there. But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. All right. Thanks, Greg. And I've had the YouTube stream running for a while, since pretty much coinciding with the TV broadcasts. So in having the television broadcast via Melbourne television repeater, because of vMix, because I'm running vMix, the digital program for all the video mixing side of the station, it also incorporates a YouTube setup. So I run YouTube via vMix. I think before I got vMix, I was still running YouTube in a roundabout way, and there was a StreamYard. I think I was also experimenting with another platform called StreamYard. Was it YardStream? StreamYard, I think it is, which is a good program that works just as well. Anyway, no worries. But the YouTube provides a high definition aspect, because through YouTube you'd be able to count all the whiskers on my face here. But on the standard definition side of the repeater up there, you'd be hard pressed to see any resolution to count those whiskers. I've had a whole week off work, so I just don't bother shaving when I'm in holiday mode, as I think a lot of us do. Thanks, Greg. Across to you there, Ian. VK3 Victor India November, up there at Kangaroo Flat. VK3 EKH. Yeah, no worries, Ian. Thanks for that. VK3VIN, VK3EKH. Yes, I think given the fact that these lower HF bands like 160 and 80 metres are pretty noisy bands, given depending on where you're located, I think I would appreciate a stronger signal from you there, Ian. You're I think you said 25 watts. I can hear you. I copied every word, but it is in the noise, and I think on 160 and 80, no less than 100 watts. That's the minimum for a transmitter. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that. But no worries, Ian. We copied you, and you're about hovering around 10 over. And I'm actually surprised that my signal wasn't as strong to you there. It should have been. Jack at Shepparton was getting a good copy on me, so yeah, it should have been all right. Anyway, not to worry. Okay. I've made a note of that time. YouTube time. 11 a.m. Last Tuesday. I don't think I was doing anything, so I don't know how or why that occurred. So I'll see if I can investigate into that, but I'm not sure I'll be able to dig up anything. Thanks, Ian. Across to you there, Martin. VK7JAH, VK3EKH. Good on you, Martin. VK7JAH, VK3EKH returning. Yeah, you're just coming through there, readable enough to copy, but probably just a little bit weaker than Ian was, but still was able to copy because there's no lightning, static, and other horrible noises that could cause problems. But yeah, no, thanks, Martin. Good on you for calling in and for the report too. Excellent stuff. So that was Martin down there in West Launceston. Is there any other stations wishing to check in before I finish? VK3EKH. No worries, Tony. I think there was another station. Was there another station there? Okay, I got Graham, VK3GL. Now there is another station trying. Just try again the other station. Oh. No worries, VK3, I think it's Zulu Tango, ZT. Got you there. All right, just stand by, you guys. Tony. Oh yes, you asked a question. That's right. Actually, I know of two impacts. One of an impact on the other side of the moon. I think we've dealt with that story. There was an impact where they had a probe crash on the other side of the moon. I don't know whether there was any footage seen of that. There was some animation, but I don't know whether any real footage ever came to light. The other impact from a probe that was sent to actually deliberately impact with a asteroid. Now I haven't seen any new articles that have come through on that one. It is in the back of my mind, but I've seen nothing at this stage. But I'll I'll go checking that out. So I'll see if there is any updates on that impactor probe, because that should have hit by now. I would have thought that was, or maybe it's still on its way. because it's the nature of the beast when you're flying through space. You can't just launch a rocket from point A to B. It's got to take a certain path. So astrophysics is at play. Thanks, Tony. Graham, VK3GL. You're a very weak signal, Mr. Lewis. VK3GL, VK3EKH. Yeah, thanks, Gray. What's the signal you're seeing from me at the moment? Oh, well, you're not reciprocating, Gray, because you usually hover around 30, but you're about 10 over, hovering around 10 to 15. On a whistle, it might just get to 20 over. So it's certainly not reciprocating the signal. But anyway, I guess there might be a reason for that. But yeah, no worries, Gray. Thanks for calling in. And okay, on the meteor shower, yes, there probably is. I know I did mention a meteor shower in 2 weeks ago. So that would be in the peak. Would be about now, actually. Yes, the peak was around this time of the month. So yes, there's a possibility for a meteor scatter communications tomorrow morning, beaming north. Be interesting to see if you get anybody, Gray. So we'll touch base on that one. Paul, VK3 Zulu Tango. Now you're not as strong. I mean, you're just in the noise too, Paul. But we'll give you a go. VK3 ZT, VK3 EKH. Right, VK3ZT, VK3EKH. All right, very weak, Paul. You're right on the noise floor, and something about enjoying is about all I got out of that. So there was something about enjoying. So I suspect that was in reference to enjoying the broadcast, and I'm hoping I'm a good signal down there. But maybe it's just conditions tonight. Maybe the short skip on 80 metres is just not so good tonight. But definitely having troubles with this, like Ian and Graham and yourself there, are all pretty weak. Well, actually, Ian was running only 25 watts, so I don't know. It's one of those things, I guess. Anyway, look, thanks, Paul, for calling in, and I can see your comment there on the Discord chat window. So to everybody that's called in on the chat window, thanks for being there. Joe, VK3 BKI came in. There's also somebody that's quadruple 6. I'm not sure who you are, but you are watching on the RTV repeater, so thanks for watching. Mitch, VK3CT, oh, well, yeah, okay. And Martin, Rob, XRA, and it goes off the top of the page there. We have Kim, VK5, FUSC, g'day Kim, Cassiopeia, and a few others up there. And oh my god, I've forgotten his name. That's terrible. It's there on the tip of my tongue. Brett, that's it. G'day, Brett. I knew that too. Oh dear. VK2CBD. G'day, Brett. Notice that you've did call in on the radio astronomy meeting last Monday. My apologies for not showing up on the RAS meeting last Monday. I have word from Rob. There was a few newcomers that showed up on the Zoom meeting. So anyway, we'll try to be there next meeting. That's another story. Okay, if there's no other stations, this is VK3EKH, the official station of the Astronomical Society of Victoria, at 11:36, concluding transmissions tonight for the 22nd of April. Everybody have a nice long weekend for those that have got the Monday off for Anzac Day, and we shall be here next Friday to do it all again. And thanks for all the kind comments too about my Auntie Polly, who passed away last Wednesday, and she was 91, and my mother is 95, and in a family of 6 siblings, my mum is the last to survive in that family. So so mum's 95, so it's I'm in a position now of having to look after mum for the remaining time, and hopefully things won't get any worse than they are right now. But she's at 95. Every day I see little things changing in her. That's another story, but nevertheless, thanks for all the comments that came through on email last week. So this is VK3EKH, ACA VK3CSJ, concluding transmissions on 3541. Thanks guys for listening, makes it all worthwhile, and we'll have new stories and new articles for next week. This is VK3EKH, concluding transmissions for tonight on 3541.
VK3CSJ, about VK3GL.
Oh, is it you, Graham? Well, as a matter of fact, it actually is. You've vastly improved your signal. So come back with a whistle if you can.
Oh, okay. Come back with a whistle. All right. We can't let her up for a whistle tonight.
Oh, what are you? All right. Yep. No. Well, you're peaking over 20 now. You're hovering around 20 to 25. I think if you could produce a whistle, you'd be about probably clocking 25. So that's about the normal that I would see from you. So that's cool. Good to see that the ATU is working for you. All right. Is that it, Graham?
around it all, and looking for a contact. I should be mobile on 40
Yeah, no, it's great. What what was the time that you're leaving again?
About between 12:30 and 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay, 12:30 Sunday. All right, Sunday. All right, no worries. We shall see if we can give you a call around about that time. Chances are I'll be because I usually broadcast the WAA broadcast, or pardon me, on Sunday morning. And once I've finished with that, excuse me, normally I'm still chatting on the repeater till midday. So I should be up here at that time, hopefully. No worries at all. Well, hopefully you guys have a good week, because if you had decided to have gone down to Ben River last week, or this week just gone, it would have been pretty cold, miserable and wet. Not really conducive of going somewhere like a place like that. So I think next week the weather is looking a little bit better. So you've definitely chosen the right time. Although it'll be cool. It'll still be cool. Temperature here right now, incidentally, is 7.8 degrees. So if that's not a winter temperature, I don't know what is, but 7.8 degrees outside at the moment, which is cold. All right, Gray, we'll see if we'll catch you on Sunday on the trip down. And Stephen and Rita, I don't know, I think their Facebook page must have been hacked, because I was seeing a report that Steve was over in America, and I made a comment on his Facebook page saying, I didn't know you were over there. So, but I later today I kind of realised that for some reason it seems like his Facebook page was hacked. So he's clearly still in Australia. VK3 GL, VK3 CSJ. VK3GL, VK3CSJ. Yeah, no, I didn't go to work this week. I did mention that, well, I mean, alright, I wasn't here last Friday, but I have mentioned it numerous times on the repeater last week that I wasn't going to work, being after Easter. So, yeah. Anyway, all right, no worries. We shall be looking out for you on Sunday. All right, thanks, Graham. Cheers for now. VK3GL going. This is VK3CSJ. I think clear on 3541.
VK3WV.
Oh, good day, Dennis. VK3WV, VK3CSJ. How's things?
Yes, good evening to you, Clint. And good evening to you there, Gray, whilst you're making a fast getaway. And we'll catch up with you at some other stage. Yeah, very good, Clint. I've been, I saw everything and listened to everything tonight. You probably don't see the reports from me. Everything was good, including 160. It sounded quite acceptable. ATV was very good. I also saw Richard's attempt to pipe you through on RTV2, which worked okay. The resolution wasn't as good as the original, but it worked. And there was no sound on it, but you're up on both for a time in case you weren't aware. I haven't caught up with you for a little while. I didn't realise you were having the week off, so I called you on, when did I call you? Wednesday and Thursday, I think, at your normal track time home, and got no answers. So I things. One, that you'd not put your rig on. Two, you were working back late. And I had a third possibility, all of which were wrong, because you just weren't there to be had. So, okay. Yeah, what else? Look, I haven't got a whole lot to add, apart from the fact that I've been having a bit of a chin-wag with the other boys, and been doing a few tests on my signal, which you may or may not have noted. And heard you this morning on 160 for a while. I didn't stay too long. I had to get out and get away and get a few things done. Went to the specialist the other day, and I'm getting near getting the other knee replaced. It's going to cost me a few K, but it should make life a whole lot more easier. It's slowly catching up with me, and I could have had it done 6 years ago, but the GP suggested if you can still make use of it, well, stick with your own as long as you can. So I have, and I've lasted another 6 years, but it is becoming a bit of a problem. So probably in the next couple of months I'll be looking at being laid low for a short period whilst I get the replacement done. The technology's moved along quite a lot in the last 6 years since I had the previous one done, and the recuperation time is far less, so hopefully that should be a good thing. Anyway, I don't know if you want to get away. You may, so I'll stick it back to you and find out if there's any oh, by the way, I've had a bit of a computer crash, and all of the data that I had on multiple things has disappeared. So I've been talking to Tony and talking to Richard tonight, but most of the info that I had on everything has more or less disappeared. So I'll have to get in touch with Peter again to see if I can re-glean the information on the HD card for the ATV system, and also I was looking for some info on grid packs. I might consider giving the thing a test in perhaps a couple of different modes to see if we can improve the very variable signal into the repeater at this stage. It's amazing how it can roll along so good for so long a period of time, and then just do terrible things. Anyway, back to you, VK3CSJ, VK3WV.
Yes, no worries, Dan. Just having a little play with the colour here. Because the colour on the repeater is that's probably a little bit better, although I can see a bit of yellow here and a bit of yellow up here. I don't know why that should like that. I don't know where that yellow comes from. I don't think this monitor I've got, this Kogan monitor, is really the best for TV. What I can see here on the computer screen by vMix looks spot on. It's more focused. I don't know, it's focused on me, but not focus is not my worry, but it's just the skin tone. Skin tone looks alright. I'm happy with the skin tone on the computer screen here, but the monitor up there is something else. Alright, on the knee, yeah. Well, I'm not. I wouldn't be looking forward to it. I've seen video of them working on knees, replacing knees, and it looks very aggressive, very violent. But you know, once it's in there and it's and your knee's all stitched up, it's, they're asking you to be walking around in a few days' time to get your knee moving again. So, and in fact, one of the guys that I used to go running with, Frank Dollider, who used to own the Dollider Exhausts in Dandenong. Frank had a knee operation, and he was so concerned about losing his condition for marathon running that once he had his knee fixed, I'm not sure if he's had both knees, but I know he had one knee fixed. Literally within a week or two, he was out there running again. Can't see how that would work, but anyway, it didn't take him long. Any operation like that for me, then that's it. I'm out for months, so I won't push the point. I won't push the envelope. I will make sure that things are healed well and truly. But anyway, yeah. No, I'm fairly certain I mentioned to you last week, because we spoke last weekend. I don't know when it was, but we spoke last weekend, and I know that I said to you that I was having the week off. I took Tuesday and Wednesday as annual leave, and Thursday was an unpaid leave. Yeah, I decided to have the week off. Look, the week's come and gone too quickly, and things that I wanted to get done, of course, haven't been done. But I'm very close to powering up the Geloso. I've now wired up all three regulators in it, and the capacitors. Although there's a little bit of wiring. If you compare my both Gelosos, the two transmitters, both are basically wired up correctly, but they're different. Whoever owned the Geloso before me, the older one, the one that I normally use, has already been played around with for some reason. I mean, I was the one who replaced the selenium rectifiers and that with discrete diodes. Pardon me, and put a couple of extra electrolytics in to try and remove the hum that I could hear, which worked. But apart from that, I'm looking at wiring, and it's different. It's just different compared to the other one. So before I go putting power onto this system, I'm just going to do some checking of wiring and making sure that I've actually got things wired up right. It's the main thing. Anyway, I've got it almost done, and hopefully, probably tomorrow at some stage, I might actually put power on it and see if I can get output, and if nothing blows up. Hopefully not. So that's about the only thing I've worked on this week. I've tried to contact Lee about picking up the new log antenna, and it's hard to get a quick response from Lee. I guess it depends on whether his mobile phone is in his hand or not. But I sent him a text message asking about when can I pick up the log, and in fact he hasn't really replied to that question. But we did talk about how we're going to pick it up, and he actually said to me that the green shed, you can hire a ute which has got the necessary carrying facility, like a section at the front of the car to carry long things. And this ute is actually just, I would only borrow it for no less than an hour, $28 to hire a ute from Bunnings, and providing that it's an hour. So all I got to do is arrange with Lee, like, when can I come and pick it up? If he says 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, then I'll just go down and hire this ute from Bunnings if no one else has taken it, and go and pick it up that way. And that's an easy peasy Japanesey, not a problem. But the business of picking up the two tubes for for the Nelly Towers, we'll have to organise another time because that'll be a tandem trailer job for sure. But negotiating a tandem trailer up Lee's driveway, I knew from the onset that could be a tricky situation. So this hiring of a ute from the Bunnings shop will probably be a whole lot better. So I shall investigate that in a very short time. It could even be this weekend, perhaps. It depends on whether Lee's home or not. So I suspect a Sunday morning, or is it tomorrow morning or Sunday, or maybe tomorrow afternoon. I don't know. I have to find out. So I think that's okay. I think picking up the log is going to be all right if I can hire this vehicle from Bunnings. Yeah. Now the only other thing that occurred this week, I had an email from Herbert over there in the Netherlands, and he tells me that that there was somebody interested in this particular transmitter that I'm interested in, and he was just confirming whether I still want to go through with it, this arrangement to get this transmitter over here, because he has another two in his coffers, and he doesn't really want to get rid of them, and he was just wanting to confirm if I wanted to continue following through in getting this unit shipped to me. And we've already had this conversation a few weeks ago, and I said no, I'll persevere with it. But come this week, when he said to me that he actually had that he actually had somebody interested in it, I thought, well, okay. Given that I was having a few issues with the other chap that I've got lined up to help me with the shipping over here, I thought, well, maybe I just should give it away. Maybe it's just not going to happen. So I actually, it took me a while to compose this email. I pretty much typed out this email, and said, leave it with me. I'll just contact this potential shipping company and find out what's going on, because I'm still waiting for a quote to come from this person. And I said, leave it with me, because he's a busy chap. So, but by the end of this email, because I'm thinking about it, and probably about half an hour later, I thought maybe it is a good idea. Maybe it's just I should let it go. Maybe it's just too much for me to worry about. But it's just a question of getting a quote that I can go by. That's really all it is. Excuse me. And but the last sentence in this email was, yes, tell your friend over there, or this other person interested in it, that I'll relinquish the transmitter. And it took me still ages to press the send button on that email, because I just wasn't sure. But by about 1 o'clock in the morning, I thought, oh, yeah, that maybe it's going to be too hard. And I was a bit sad thinking about it, because I really didn't want to let this particular transmitter go. I mean, it is something that I've been, wanting for a long time, something of this nature. And anyway, so I sent the email off, and I didn't get a reply from Herbert straight away. I kind of half expected him to reply within half an hour to say, okay, I'll let this guy know. But there was none of that. And so come Tuesday morning, when people were back in business, I contacted the potential shipping company, Link, and I got almost a reply fairly quickly to say, look, I'll chase up this, and we'll see if we can get a response from you. And it looks promising. The last statement that I got was, do nothing at the moment until you hear back from me, was the response. So at this stage, I then emailed back Herbert saying, Look, things are still happening here. I just hope that it wasn't too late. But he actually did contact this other guy over there in the Netherlands, or at least I think this other guy's in the Netherlands. The Netherlands. And he did say that I was going to free up this transmitter, so the word did go across. But I, in my email back to Herbert, I said, look, don't do anything yet. I've decided to still stick with this and to continue on with the process. So I am really hoping that I get a quote through very soon. Look, as you know, I live on my emails system here. Excuse me. And every hour or so I'm checking emails for any potential thing that comes through. Because as soon as I see a quote, as soon as I see a firm quote come through, that's the deal is done, and I will pay this company whatever it is, and get this ball rolling, and get this transmitter device over here. So the only thing that will happen, because once it's on board a ship, it's out of everybody's hands then. And if a bloody shipping container falls off the side of the ship with this transmitter sitting in it, well, that's bad luck. But at least it was shipped and on its way. If it wasn't so dear at the moment, it's so expensive to go by air, I certainly would have organised air freight. But look, air freight at the moment for something like this is around $7,000. And if I had $7,000 to spend at the moment, it would be actually on a shipping container for downstairs here. Because I am so desperate to clear up the space downstairs and move all this rubbish that I've got downstairs into its own room. I really want to get that done at some point. So at this stage, I'll just let that's on the back burner. But at least at this point in time, I'm still getting this transmitter still on the cards, and it's just a matter of waiting for a quote to come through. But I almost lost it this week. I almost decided. I did this. I don't know if you heard that, but big crash on the roof here. I think a possum just fell out of a tree. God, that's a loud noise. But anyway, so there it is. At this stage, no words on the HD transmitters. I know Stefan Baby has got it. G'day, Stefan, if you're watching the YouTube stream. Oh, I should really cut this YouTube stream off, shouldn't I? Boring a lot of people out there. So anyway, all right, for the folks watching YouTube, I'm going to cut it. Sorry, I should have cut it off half an hour ago. So I shall remove the stream. Thank you for watching, guys. Still out there. If you want to hear this conversation, tune to 80 meters, or to Paul's SDR VK3KHZ. Paul's SDR. You can find us there on 3541. Still, yes, there we are. Okay, so cheers everybody who's still watching the YouTube stream. Bye. Stop streaming. Yes.